Someone in one of my YouTube videos made a comment to one of my YouTube videos about sacred activism for ending violence and peacemaking. If I could give any advice about how we can do this process of sacred activism. And I see this process has 4 parts. So the first part is we can commit to healing whatever is out of balance within ourselves. Anything that is a result of a trauma in our own life, from our childhood on forward, and anything that we carry within us that is a manifestation of an ancestral wound. Now, there are many tools and ways to do this kind of healing. Energetic healing, shamanic energy healing in particular, I have found, is very, very powerful in doing this. But the key thing is do our inner work and bring our awakeness and awareness to that, because our own personal traumas, our own suffering is always and ever interconnected into the whole. And the more human beings raise their heads up, believing that this kind of profound healing is possible for them, for their families, the better off humanity will be. The second step is that we take some kind of action that arises out of compassion and kindness first to ourselves and then to others. And that can be just as simple as being kind to a stranger. So I was in the grocery store today, and this man, who is obviously a native Spanish speaker, asked me, I ended up standing next to him, and he had a whole chicken in his hands, and he couldn't apparently read the English, and he said, is this organic? Is this organic? Well, it took me a few minutes because I wear reading glasses, which I have on now, and I didn't have my reading glasses on. I had to do a little switchy changey of my glasses. Then I had to read, and I had to, explain the labeling to him. And then he picked up another chicken, and I said, yes, okay, so a simple act of generosity and kindness. I was in a hurry, so I could have just rebuffed him or kind of glanced and said, yeah, I think so. But, I didn't. I gave him and that little exchange a lot of attention. And I'm not saying that I'm always able or that I always do that, but at least today I did. That's second. The third is that we stay tuned in. It is very tempting with all the horrible things that are happening in the world to stay tuned in. And what we need to do when we stay tuned in and we see the stories of people being dragged off the street or out of a courtroom, people of color, people from south of the border in the U.S., and we bring the fire of our compassion to that scene. We bring our passion for justice, that energy, to that scene, and we send protection and safety out to anyone who's in that situation. And we try our best to even hold with forgiveness the people who do those things. I often do think about what Jesus was reported to have said as he hung on the cross. Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. There are so many people who do not know what they do. And I think we have to keep returning back to that almost as a mantra. And then the fourth is that we use our voice not only to speak words of kindness, but to also speak up if someone is being used or misused. So It's our inner work. It is bringing kindness and compassion in our actions in the world. It is speaking up about injustice. And it is also doing the best we can to hold everyone concerned in that unconditional understanding that they have not awakened and they know not what they do, those who wish to do harm. It's not easy. It's not easy for me, believe it. But I try, and so should all of us.